Hey everyone, James Labrie from Dream Theater, and you're listening to or watching the podcast Talking into Infinity with JT and Brian. Enjoy this. These guys are extremely informative. I love their dialogue. I love their interpretation of the songs, who and what we are, what we were going after. They're very accurate in their interpretations and descriptions, and I just think this is a great show, and these guys are doing a stand-up stellar job. So once again, enjoy Talking into Infinity with JT and Brian.
What's up, guys? Welcome to another episode of Talking into Infinity, a Dream Theater-centric podcast. I am your host, John. Brian is off doing fun family stuff in Illinois tonight. We are live on Facebook, YouTube, and the CMS Rumble page and the CMS TV network. If you are tuned in on YouTube, please don't forget to hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, and smash that notification bell so that you are notified every time we go live. We're live at those locations every other Thursday at 7:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Without further ado, I think you guys all know what we are doing here tonight. He is the man behind the kit. He is the alien himself. He has a solo record coming out in November, just a few short weeks from now, and he has a kick-ass new single out called Freak of Nature. Let's bring him on. The man himself, Mr. Mike Mangini. Mike, how's it going, man? Thanks for jumping on.
John. Hey, thanks for having me. I'm lucky on this particular setup. I was scurrying. I had the wrong browser. I didn't even have the compatible browser. And I went, oh my gosh. But thankfully, having to deal with many technology hiccups and things like that, I was able to get it and just sit here and pretend that I was here the whole time and ready.
Don't feel bad. I do a second show, and I realized right before I went live that I had all my background set for my Star Wars show. I was like, yeah, I don't think that's tonight. So
it's unbelievable. You just get used to certain things. I'm like, oh my gosh, what color am I going to use? Oh no, trip over a wire. But hey, it's real. It's totally real. So thanks for having me to talk about the album.
Yeah, not a problem. Thank you very much for making time. Obviously, you've got Freak of Nature out, and you have a new one coming out tomorrow, correct?
Oh yeah. That's the one coming out tomorrow. Will be a little bit more, I guess, close to what a small number of people expected that they would, which I knew would happen. They're like, we kind of expected something. I definitely didn't fall out of a coconut tree and hit my head. I know what they're talking about. I know what they mean. And I have plenty of those songs, drum stuff and changes and seeds anyway, just folders full of them, sure. as well as different kinds of lyrics. But this particular album, so first of all, this song coming out tomorrow, actually, I'm doing a YouTube thing at 6 p.m. called Not Drowning, is more, it's just, they're going to hear it and go, oh, okay. Because what's interesting about it is, and then it's indicative of the whole record, is it has a kind of embedded polyrhythm kind of thing that's fun for people that are interested in it and need that extra thing. That we all love, and but it's done in a way, as it is true for the whole album, where I am trying to engage the average listener that would have no idea what that stuff is, or have any idea what I'm doing back there, right? So in a way where they don't have to. So if you listen to this, for example, by listening to Freak of Nature, you can listen to that on a cell phone speaker, and I bet a very young drummer, I don't mean young in age, I just mean young in time spent, can listen to that and go, I can play that, and I can play that like now, and that's what I want, because And it's like the lyric thing too. It's repeatable things that sound palatable, and if you want to, personalize that, you can. Um, with the drums in particular, well, if you want to dig a little deeper, or if you're a musician and you put the headphones on and you start to hear my ride sources, meaning all those hi-hats, and
Yep.
rides and things. When you hear that module of the drum kit firing off in one ear and then the next, you start to maybe pay attention and go, well, why is that happening? And then you find that I'm everything's orchestrated with the music. So if there's a key signature change, there's a ride source change. It's just my way of having fun back there without disturbing the flow, just from a simple music listening perspective. Does that make any sense?
Very much so. Very much so. I actually, it's funny. I'm going to ask a music nerd question. Okay.
Yeah.
On a lot of other podcasts, I'm sure we're going to talk about the record, but I do have a music nerd question because you just brought it up. And I think it's something that a lot of people don't understand. You've said before that you actually tune drums to actually work with the tonality of the instruments you're playing to. And drummers, you never hear them talk about that. It's just, does the kit sound good? Is the high tom high? Is the low tom low? So are you able for the common person to explain how that actually works? Because it almost, for dummies like me, it sounds like, oh, I'm going to tune the top one to E and the next one to A. Like, how does that work?
Well, I don't tune to specific notes that are in a song. I used to actually have to do that with the rototoms, because a long time ago, because the tone was so pure, you could hear the note. And I remember being in a session, and the person who wrote the song said, "Your drums are out of tune with me." I'm like, "What?" So like, oh, whatever. So I tune them in relation to themselves, but the application is simple to understand if you see it this way. If you look at a keyboard and you play the notes to the left, and those are the low notes, okay?
Mm-hmm.
The tiny little drums I have that could, resemble a chihuahua barking or something, right?
Right.
Those aren't appropriate for those big sounds. You need the bigger drum. So I tune them in zones so that they're relative to each other. In other words, if there's a weird relationship between the drums, it's weird. So I make the relationship harmonious in some way,
Sure.
and then play the zones of the tom toms according to like the zone on a keyboard. So if it's higher notes, you're going to hear those higher drums, or tinier cymbals, or maybe cymbal bells. And when you hear big noises and big chords, you're going to hear big, you're going to hear giant pieces of metal going push,
Right.
and drums going thud. So does that make sense?
No, that makes total sense. I think, like, again, I've heard you mention that a few times, and I think it's something that people really don't understand, because it's a very musical way of looking at the drums, rather than, just, I say, just worry about the drums in and of themselves, and you just basically play under the other stuff. And earlier you mentioned, going back to the actual writing of the record, was there a conscious direction you were going for, or did you really just sit down and say, whatever comes out, comes out? How did you approach this?
I approached it by looking at my database of song seeds.
Okay.
So I have folders. This is everything from riffs sung to riffs played through a keyboard, because I don't play the other instruments. Although I have some ideas that I did play on guitar and bass, but I'm so limited. I was like, why am I doing this? So, and it was fun, but I was like, no. Because I'm a trained percussionist, so that I learned how to understand and play marimba and xylophone. So getting on a keyboard that triggers virtual instruments was a dream come true. And it's really only through the technology of virtual guitar that this record exists, because during that process of filtering through my database, I started to categorize them by, how can I say, I guess by not by complexity, but I guess by complexity, meaning there were some ideas that were complex. Meter changers don't sit well with a large general audience because they just want to move. When your beat goes in between, that's disturbing. Like, what was that? They skipped, you know.
Right.
I mean, like progressive music would make makes their heads explode.
Right.
But I mean, there's a reason for that. I don't want to go off on too much of a tangent, but MIT did a study on no one showing up to the Earth with a certain area wired, which is the polyrhythm area. Like, what does it have, a sign on it? Like, how do they know that? It's a very
Yeah.
interesting study, but it's a great, it's a well done study using aspects of the scientific method, which usually guarantees you, well, this isn't wrong so far. Anyway, so I had complex ideas, real simple ones. I mean, like, where a lot of the use of this kit to keep myself busy developed over the years, playing other people's very simple songs. I'm like, well, I'd like to do something as a trained orchestral, like, percussionist, and just like change the. Can I have two hi-hats so I can change the keys? And just like, it's just fun. So I have a real simple stuff. I have the complex stuff, and then there's this hybrid. And so I gathered material that was of the hybrid category, and then once I formulated, what I liked, it went from there. But that's important to know, because what made me do this was I woke up one morning, and it was one of those wake ups where you are immediately awake. And I got up and I said, it begins today. I have to do this. So I went straight up to my studio. And it was very early. It might have been 5:30 in the morning. Like, I tiptoed,
Right.
socks, just in the house, and a couple of creaky stairs over there. And I was like, shh. So I began that process immediately. It's like, because I heard the words in the chorus to a song called Habit to Change. I heard it. It was bizarre, and it was, okay, that's a song. So I went up with that. As like the other ones, I would just hear things that sounded like words, and then kind of come up with a couple of words that matched what I was hearing, and then looked them up and used a thesaurus, and then it led me to various topics and things. And then I would gather information on the topics and have, just like a bag of seeds, or components, just to make a lyric. It's like, okay, but they were based on sound. I meaning, but largely I needed them to be based on sound. So that's what happened. That's twofold. So there's music it's in the middle, so that it can relate to people without that meter changing. And but then every one of the songs has a solo section that's where I get to use my stuff, because that's what solo players do. So I was like, okay. And there's a story how that formulated, but that's what it was. And I was like, okay, well, I won't make the song complex, but I'll use my things, my rhythms and chops and ability to move fast with very, very far distances. I don't know what it looks like from afar, my drum set, but when you sit on it, things are not necessarily next to each other.
Yeah.
So I got to move. So anyway, that's a music portion, and a theory behind, an intention behind it. Like, I don't want to do this, I don't want to do that, but I'm going to do this and mix them. And then it's the same thing lyrically, where I'm like, I've done this a little bit, but
Right.
I didn't like sit there and write lyrics in high school. I actually drew drums and stage lights on my notebooks. So it was a system I came up with. That's that.
Was it difficult because I mean, you're a drummer, so, and you've been involved in many projects, and you're kind of a part of, a collective. It's, guys bouncing ideas off each other. But, and correct me if I'm wrong here, but this is the first time that you were the sole songwriter. And, how difficult was that? Because along the way, I mean, you're having to learn these digital instruments, and you're learning the craft of songwriting as you go. Like, talk a little bit about how difficult that was to go through during this process.
It was difficult initially because I had penned lyrics before, and I had been the sole songwriter on a project that I launched for a very short amount of time and then pulled the plug on it. So when I sat to do it this time, the initial shock was a challenge, because I thought, well, what am I going to do this time? Because I previously, when I did it, see, I like to make people laugh. All right, I do. And the interesting thing is, the lyrics that I penned before were all zany. They were just like, they were all humorous, every single one of them, and they all had the same kind of a theme, and they were goofy on purpose to make people laugh. So I have found with my humor that it doesn't always make everybody laugh. So I'm like, maybe I shouldn't do that. I may get serious about something. So when I decided that, then when I had my system of research, like, okay, I'm going to hear the sound, because I thought, well, that's important to me. What do da da da, like, what does that mean? Right? It sounds like something. So I had my protocol in mind, and because I had the protocol, the other stuff fell in line. I said, well, what am I going to do? It's like, okay, I know what I'm not going to do, and I don't know everything I'm going to do, but I'm going to research and put together things that can be interpreted and people can relate to in some way, But nothing's about a personal experience. That's interesting, because I know lyricists do that sometimes. They write about something that happened to them, or a story, or whatever it is.
Sure.
But that's not this. I just but I heard stuff and tried to make words that worked with it, and then I tried to find words that had that made sense with it. But sometimes the pre-chorus makes sense within itself, or it might, that first line might transition from the other one, but they might have nothing to do with it, because I was looking for nuggets,
Right.
So that was the difficult part. It was just sitting and saying, okay, and committing, being sure, because the system was in place. And with the music, it was actually more difficult, to be honest with you, because I had so many ideas, and now, I know what it feels like when people want to get all their ideas out, and share them. And, it's like when I put too many ideas in a sentence, and then an email gets convoluted.
Right.
Because I'm like, blah, 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 but, and the, also, the blibbity.
The dreaded run-on sentence.
Yeah. It's like I tire myself out with it.
Nice.
I just like, cut it out. Stop. just cut it out. So I'm learning. At any rate, the music, it was like, well, I like this, I like that, and this is cool, and that's fun. Everything made sense to me. So then I had to decide to use just two sort of grooves instead of one. For example, I know Angus Young from AC/DC was asked in an interesting way, well, you guys have, I forget the bit verbatim, but you guys have 13 albums and they all sound the same. As if that's kind of an insulting thing to say to somebody, but,
Right.
but like, what are you asking him that for? But then he came back and said, no, you're wrong. We have 14 that sound the same. Like, whatever he said, he added a number to it.
Right.
And so I had that in mind, but mine really is kind of there's like a set where it's riffs and the powerful, more rock kind of groove, and then there's more loop oriented, but the riffs are actually like stretched out, but they don't sound like Black Dog is a riff, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so you can hear in Freak of Nature that's the chorus is a riff,
Mm-hmm.
right? Why am I doing this? I don't play guitar. Anyway, that was odd, but the other ones, they're not like chord change songs. I have a whole batch of those. And maybe one snuck in, but anyway, they're basically a little bit different from each other. But I tried to tie them in. I tried to like put some DNA through them, like a chain link, so that
Sure.
the album would have big grooves able to be felt quite easily, orchestration, and riffs with a certain tonality to them. Like even in the loop-oriented tunes, when the riff comes in, it's got like in I'll call it an O minus note in it. It's a what's that one? Like
Right.
it's not just standard major
Yep.
chord, line or something like do a deer in the key of C.
Right.
It's not that. If that makes any sense. So yeah, that was time consuming, and I know that my final choices were something that I looked at them and said, well, gosh, I wonder if I should put these three in instead of those and make it all like this thing. I was like, no, just put it in. I mean, it's my first solo album. It's just a piece of me. It's not everything.
Sure. Well, and you brought up something interesting, saying that and you have all these different ideas, and we talked about the songwriting aspect of things, and you just mentioned the fact that the album's got DNA through it and whatnot, and there's some chord progression songs, but then there's stuff that's not. And something that you just said was very interesting. You said the chorus of Freak of Nature is a riff. It's and generally when people think of choruses, they're thinking that big, those big chords and all that stuff, and so obviously you're not coming from the standard songwriting perspective, I would say, because this is your project. You don't do this as your quote unquote main job.
Yeah.
Was that ever kind of a battle for you when you wrote something like the chorus of Freak of Nature, where it's a riff and not those big chords, and you're trying to make this more accessible, you said, so that people are getting into it, it's not overly progressive? Was that a battle for you, or did you just say, pardon the language, fuck it, I'm gonna write what sounds good to me? Or did that kind of throw you off a little bit?
It didn't throw me off. It throws off writers that need the chords. That's who it threw off.
Okay.
That's and who it throws off. I noticed. So in my experience, so for me, I just heard the riff, and somehow I just heard. I heard things with the voice instrument that worked with it. That's all I can tell you. Is it wasn't that part wasn't necessarily all that hard. So because I could hear it. So I don't know. Maybe I'm just I don't know. That just was something that I was able to do. So
Okay.
yeah. But I'll try to think for a minute. Yeah, I mean there are songs, there are a handful, maybe just a few that have the chords for the choruses. And let me think. Do they have? Yeah, there's a hint of this riff thing somewhere in it, even if it's a call or an answer
Sure.
or whatever it is. But yeah, I mean, largely, and I understand that. I understand why people that compose the voice end of things like that, because there's room for that singing, and that just you could choose any one of a bunch of notes, and they all work.
Right.
You know, writing them over a riff, that's not the case, because the notes are changing. You know,
Yeah.
fast. The notes are changing fast, so it's probably a thing
Yep.
for the normal lyric writer. But
Yep.
I don't know. I just heard it.
Well,
So there you go.
Well, you mentioned it might have been difficult for other people. So that, that brings me to a question I wanted to ask. Obviously, you've got, other musicians working with you on this. I mean, you in other interviews, you've talked about the fact that you wrote everything. This was you
Initially.
100%. Yeah, initially.
Yeah. Initially, but when I mentioned it difficult, it wasn't in this situation specifically with my musicians. It, obviously, like I said, in my experience in life and things,
Okay.
just because I had written some stuff
Sure.
before.
Yeah.
Anyway,
No, I was just going to ask, what did the other musicians bring to this? Obviously, you've made it very public. You've got Gus G playing lead guitar. You've got Ivan Keller on rhythm. You've got Tony Dickinson on bass. Jen Majura on vocals, which is a very interesting choice because I think
yeah.
Most people would associate her as with guitar. So what did they bring to this process? Were you more of a, hey, here's what I wrote, play this, or did you say, hey, if you've got something that you think will enhance this, like, let's talk about it? Like, how did you approach this with the other musicians that you worked with?
Well, musically, I approached it where, okay, here are the parts, but I made sure they were, they were unison things, and so that's kind of how the part is and how it's going to go. But there are sections that were more basic, and I said, if A on my keyboard instrument, I've done something, wrong for the string instruments, change it. Let me know. Just as a note here or there, like whatever. Because the essence of the parts were going to remain. They had to remain. So I left that room, and they did. Now it's like, well, can I play? I want to play. Yeah, go ahead. Or like I said to Tony on bass, I said there are transitions where I'm playing melodiously on the drums. You can catch those, and if you want to do an answer, a little fill in here, go ahead. Ivan did it as well, and of course Gus, had the solos. And what was interesting about that is that I had written a solo for every single song, and what made him want to play on this album is I ran into him in an airport lounge in Istanbul, and it was an open chair. It happened to be next to him. And I was being goofy and like pretending I didn't see him and just like, where am I going to sit? He goes, hey, sit here. I said, okay. And he goes, what are you doing? I said, I'm just working on some stuff. He goes, let me hear it. I'm like, no, I don't know. I don't know if I want you to hear this.
Right.
So he goes, give it to me. I put it. He pulled the headphones out and said, please let me record this for you. I'm like, okay. Sure. Twist my arm.
Yeah, twist my arm, right.
So what he said about the solos is a couple of them in an endearing way, and I love this. He said, I need to play this because this is wrong for guitar. This would be impossible to learn. And I said, I know, I get it. Because initially I wrote the solos and I was trying to find like some kind of violin kind of sound, and I was thinking having a psycho violinist get out there and like play these solos with me. It just hit me. This is a long time ago, and I was like, okay, no. And Gus said, I gotta try it. So he went in and did it, and he encountered certain songs where he asked me if he could just do his own thing, and I said, sure. Go ahead, and then I'll wreck your solo and ruin it.
Nice.
You know what I mean? So the reason that happens, I'll tell in a minute. But before I do that, Jen, I had done a project for her called her 1 minute things she was putting out, and we did a Stevie Wonder song, 1 minute jams. We were doing a Stevie Wonder song, and I noticed her tone. And her swing and her ability to play like a lot of instruments. And I was like, well, I just noticed like that's really good, you know, because I had her solo album, which was guitar. So one thing led to another. I thought of her, and I sent her a few instrumental tracks, and Freak of Nature was one. And when she heard that, she wrote me right away and said, please let me do this. I'm like, okay. So what's interesting about her is that she's got this unique sound and tone, which I didn't expect. It's striking. I was like, and I liked it for that. And plus her pitch is spot on. But the thing is, like every singer, a singer has their range where they sound most comfortable. And I had already finalized all of the music for these tracks. So there are a couple of them that she said, that's a little bit in this range. That's not my, the sweet zone.
Comfort zone. Yeah.
Yeah. The comfort zone. So Freak of Nature is one that's not as, it's like in the middle kind of a thing.
Right.
With her, you know what I'm saying? So the one coming out Friday, Not Drowning, is a different animal. So that's a little more in that sweet zone. So she did an absolutely wonderful job making, giving some consistency to all of them, because even through the process, she said to me, "Because I'm going to have to sing that like really low." This I'm like,
yeah.
It's like I was like, wait a minute, it is my house. I was like, this is not my, the David Byrne thing. This is not my musical house. It's like, oh yeah, it is. And I didn't know. So anyway, that's a scene. She's like, bang, got it. So the guitar solos. Let me just do that, and you can. I don't know. How long are we doing this for?
Whenever you need to go, man. Whatever you'd like to talk about.
Okay, so with the solos, I had joined the band Extreme, and I went on tour right away. And then when we returned home, there were 8 months off. It's like, okay, all right. Why don't I practice my drums and finish my rhythm knowledge, this thing I was calling rhythm knowledge, which are my books. So I finished the first two with a co-writer, of course. And then I bought some equipment for songwriting. And it was interesting because I would get ideas at strange hours of the night and just get up and go work. And it was fun. And I would just sleep whenever. And I loved to cook, so I had like crazy amounts of great food in the house, pre-cooked, and it's just like it was a nice alone time. And during that time, I wrote a bunch of songs, and I figured, well, let me write some stuff I think would be appropriate for Extreme, even though I knew that what would happen was like, because we had written stuff at sound checks and jammed together, and we had material that is just gone. It's just gone. It's under like a Maxell XL2 cassette in some at the bottom of 3 compacted cars in some junkyard. So I don't know where it is. You see I see how my mind works? That's why that's some of the songs in my reading go, where did that come from? Like, sorry. I don't know.
Keeping that stuff for back in the days a bitch, man.
Right. So so I wrote these songs, and I wanted to designate where the solo was. And I got on a keyboard and I tried, and I had a sequencer with a floppy disk still.
Oh geez.
So so I tried to record shapes and motions that I couldn't really play, but I wanted to do like arpeggio sweeps, stuff like that. Nuno play anything. So something, it wasn't good. I was embarrassed. I wasn't gonna send that. So it hit me one day. I looked at one of my percussion modules. I knew it had a vibraphone, a marimba, stuff like that. So I put the vibraphone on and and assigned those sounds from my pads. Like that kit, this drum kit is an apex shape. It's symmetrical.
Mhm.
It goes from the middle out. And so I had a small kit shaped like that I had on tour that I would just practice because, this drum kit isn't something that just, I was able to play. When I set the first version of this up and could not play it. This is a learning tool for me. This is this is something that I was like, I pulled me to be developing who and what I am now as far as, a drummer. So I couldn't even play it. Definitely not. It was totally ambidextrous. I'm like, left, like the hi-hat's going like, And it's funny, people call me ambidextrous. I'm not ambidextrous. I worked very, very hard to develop the skills associated with it. And I got into cognitive science, and that really changed everything for me. So that's a tangent. I'm going to, wait, hold on. So I asked Nuno if I could borrow one of his amp heads and cabinets, and he said yes. So I got it and took the output of the percussion sound that I was using and put it into the guitar and distorted it and was like, huh, well, that sounds interesting. It doesn't sound great, but it's a distorted note, in the string, sort of in the string family, even though not quite, because a vibraphone is a hunk of metal, like a doink. It's a key. But
Yep.
I just I tuned, well, I assigned the right key signature notes to all of the pads for each of the songs. So any pad I hit was a right note because the solo sections were in one particular key signature, which is like it's similar to what's happening on my solo album. And I just played this mad stuff, and I had foot pedals too. So essentially, I had 4 limbs to play one low E string if I wanted to. So I did some things on purpose, knowing would hear it. And sure enough, he, I can't say I remember word for word of verbatim what he said or what he wrote. I don't even remember if I spoke or talked or faxed or whatever it was. But I remember him, let me use the word saying that's insane. I got to learn that. So when I ran into Gus and I heard him say the same thing, I knew that he needed to be the guy. So that's how that happened.
So I did have a question about Dino Jalusic, because it's interesting because, he introduced you to Tony Dickinson and Ivan Keller, and, and obviously they're world-class players, TSO and all that kind of stuff. And, but Dino suggested them. Was there ever a thought, was there ever a brief discussion to get Dino himself on this? Because obviously he's just unbelievable. And since you're already talking about this, was there any talk of having him on the album at all? Or
there wasn't an option to have him, on my final album, because a million reasons. But anyway, he's not on it. There you go.
Short and simple.
He's great. He was amazing and great person too. So yeah, there you go.
So what are you hoping fans get out of this? Because it is a very unique project. You're known as Mike Mangini, the drummer, and even when drummers do put out solo records, which is not common, it's not, hey, it's song based. I'm trying to, venture into the world of actual songwriting. It tends to be very rhythmic, and so this is a very unique project. So what is if you had a message that you wanted to get across with this record, what would it be?
It would be to either by how music makes you feel or how words make you think, to use those to grow, to learn how to find the truth or the reality of something, to the lack of a better description. It's really about having a calling and like, oh, I'm being inspired, So I really want to reach I do want to reach a broader audience to, as my honorable mention, I would like to share what I do. If that's the simplest message, then that's the message. I'd like to share what I do over here with people that would not pay any mind to me if they were listening, if they weren't listening to music on the albums that I'm on, or if they saw something like this, or saw a drum solo of mine or a clip that somebody put up, because everyone's always putting clips of like this stuff. And it's like, I look at it and go, when I've seen it, I can't even, look. It's just like, oh, it's like, of course, that little piece of every solo gets clipped. Or if I play very polyrhythmic, of course, that gets taken and there's an issue made out of it or something, or a scene or something. It's like the meat of what I do is never looked at. It's never grabbed and shown. It's never forefront, but it's the forefront of what I do. I play music, and I've played music where I stay out of people's way. And when I feel something in that music, I play for it and use my abilities to enhance it in some way, to color it in. And so the message is, hey, to the person that doesn't really get what I do, maybe they'll get that from this, because it's not intimidating, at least the regular parts. Like, I don't know if the solo sections are, or maybe, let me clarify. To play it like me on that instrument is not so easy. The simple sounding stuff is not easy to play because of the balance shifts that have to occur to stay in time, the distances that I have to go, the difficulty in memorizing the exact drum to hit. It's not just making a rhythm. If that was the case, I would default to a 5-piece kit with a small, a medium, and a large tom-tom to just get the range. A regular hi-hat, a closed one, a couple of crash cymbals, a ride, and maybe a stack. And that would be it. Because if I played that way, I wouldn't want to use a kit like this to just fill in and go and just hit everything on the kit. I just hit the drums that work, and then I can hit more notes on the one drum. So I'm just trying to share what I'm doing here, because maybe one of the final things I'll say here is that I became aware, and I recognized that transitions throughout this record, if they weren't played on that drum set, wouldn't work on a small kit. And that's interesting.
Very much.
That's interesting because when drummers cover my drum parts on a smaller drum set with music I'm on, it can be reflected. It can be reflected. Not all of it, but in essence, to a point. But and not exactly, but to a point. Yeah. So the thing about some of the moves on this album is that the rhythm is like 3, 4, da, do, 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 bang. Okay. Now, if I just had a 4-piece kit, that fill would sound like 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, do, 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 boom. Now, if anybody heard me do that on an album, they might say, okay, yeah, this, you can do it. but is that really you? Like, is the integrity in it? And like, yeah,
Yeah.
it might be, but you get my point.
Of course.
You get my point. So when I'm playing da do do da da do do do, well, that sounded like that. Ba ba da 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 da. I didn't mean that. Where did that come
Right.
from? That's my Italian heritage and all those big family weddings coming into my.
I'm Italian
thing.
myself.
I'm
I'm
like,
following
"What?
right along, Mike. I'm Italian myself.
Oh my gosh, sorry. Do I have a shield? No, I want that stuff. Anyway, but on that kid, it goes like so. Now the thing is, I can't just pick any 4 drums because if I start with this hand, but the next ride source is over here because the key signature demands that. Well, then I can't play it starting with this hand because then I'm going to end up having to do a double or moving in a very uncomfortable way where I can't strike the drums hard. So that's a unique thing about the album, is it just might sound like I'm sure with Freak of Nature, I am absolutely sure that a percentage of people heard it when just were like, that's a simple B, like, yeah, yes, but if you would like the drumsticks, if you would like to get on that drum kit, if you're a drummer, then do that because you might be satisfied. You'd be challenged to sit down and go, yeah, I got. Oh, wait a minute. Wait a minute. Oh, wait a minute. Because that's what happens when people sit down on their kit. They go, whoa, what?
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, you got to flip your feet and like, huh?
Dude, what? Yeah.
Yeah.
It was. I was going to bring that up about Freak of Nature because and I won't keep you too much longer. I really appreciate you sticking around.
Thanks. We'll go a few more minutes.
Yeah, Freak of Nature is interesting because when you first listen to it, and this is my visceral reaction. We do a lot of deep diving on the show here. But when you first listen to it, you're thinking, okay, this is a good heavy modern rock song. It's got a good hook and everything, this, that, and the other. And when you go listen back to it, all of a sudden you hear those Mangini-isms, for lack of a better word. You hear those in there, and you're like, holy shit! Like it's very nuanced. And I think it's exactly as you said, like you wanted your own flair in it, but you wanted it to be more accessible too. So it's such an interesting listen. So yeah, I completely get what you're saying because I completely got that from listening to the song multiple times.
Thank you. That's a big relief because that's what I want to do. Because I just tried to put things in there for the spectrum of listeners out there. The stuff like that, I know that's gonna translate to a certain demographic, but it's the other crowd, So that's to play for that that friend that some friends I had, if I don't know, put on whatever complex type of music for a friend or something as a young kid. You put like fusion on Billy Cobham, this or that, or whatever. I don't even know what comes to mind here. Certain friends are like,
"Yep,
I like this." Okay, you don't have to like it. It wasn't until I studied cognitive science I found that phrase interesting. I don't like this. It's like, wow, because I never understood it. I was just like, well. All right, I get it, but I put music on and just start. My mind just starts dissecting it, and I like that process of like listening a different way as a person that loves to learn. Oh, what is this there? How's that going? Okay,
sure.
So when I studied more deeply in cognitive science, and then MIT did the study, I realized that sometimes when someone says, "I don't like that," sometimes it's not about the taste or that kind of thing. It's that they don't like the feeling that they don't know what's going on in there, because I didn't either, of this area of the brain not being wired, and it drives it's uncomfortable. It actually makes you like, how you could, if you do a lot of homework or reading, you grab your hair and you kind of do that, or you squint your eyes. You know what I mean? Like when information kind of tires you out. That's what I noticed. I was like, I think this particular person in this particular case doesn't like the feeling of not being able to process this thing. And if they could process it, they might like this music. And so that became a very important source of my love. And what I actually did, and this is a tough sell. This is a tough sell. What I'm about to say is like I'm saying to you, John, you have $1 in your pocket, okay? Now, I got a vending machine here. For $1, you can have a pair of my drumsticks. You can have 2 pairs of my drumsticks. You can have a cymbal. You can have 2 of my gong drums. You're not going to take the drumstick for $1, are you?
No.
You're going to take the most value you can get, aren't you?
Yes.
Right. Well,
very much so.
So for that $1, why don't you get the world? And what I mean by that is I set up, I chose 2 of my rhythm knowledge systems from my second book, volume 2, which has the systems in it. The first book is about, what are we and how do we work? And how does that relate to us wanting to learn about music or learn to be a musician? That's the first one. Things are easy when you know how. How does it all work? The second book is the things are easy when you know what. So I figured out how to boil anything that could be played rhythmically down to these 5 systems. And it applies to every instrument, but it also applies to non-musicians. So I took 2 of the courses and I put them on my Vimeo rental page. And one of them is called Not Quite Doubled, which is a pattern recognition system. And as I use these words, it's probably a turnoff to people just because I'm using the words. And I just say, oh, no, come on. Just give it a minute, because I can teach a non-musician. Well, I have taught non-musicians 100%, unfailing, for sure, guaranteed every time. I've taught them in less than 10 minutes how to wire that area of the brain, or at least begin the wiring of it, because you have to keep, you have to work. But how to wire it initially, and how to recognize any complex bass rhythm, anything. I'm talking like time changes, quick ones. It works. And why not spend your time or your $1 being able to do something to give you the joy of every single kind of music in this world, everything, for such a short investment of, just 10 minutes, for crying out loud, just to get it, But the course, I put 9 hours of material, because each of those courses is an hour. But I sat there and recorded very slowly for 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 10 minutes, 10 minutes, hour, so people could gradually build with me, and just drill these bass binary rhythms, and meaning the only 2 things you got to deal with, an on or an off. Right? Because with odd phrases, odd phrases, when you go on, off, or down, up, it could be a guitar, or right, left, or hit, rest, whatever 2 voices you have. The second one, the up, becomes the 1 with an odd number, because if you have 7, right, you go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 1. So the way that the system works is you count every other 1, and that's why it's not quite doubled. I don't count to 4, not quite doubled, to get a grouping of 7. It's just a phrase, a term, whatever, what I came up with at the time. It's not as important as the essence of what it is.
Yep.
But why wouldn't you just do that? And so I hope that eventually I can bring a lot of people into that world, because I know the joy I get when someone goes from thinking and feeling that there is no way that they can play something that I play, or understand complex music, or like Indian music that's flying with very large time signatures and stuff, just very complex rhythms to become comfortable with. If they think they can't do that, my soul it's just living through this thing called rhythm knowledge, which offers something called hope. And there's been no greater joy to me than someone, getting a hold of this and just having their life transformed. That's why I like teaching so much. It was a very emotional thing. It still is. Anybody that signs up for my Zoom classes and stuff like that, the experience is pretty mind-blowing. But it's very mind-blowing to everybody, because what they expected is not what happened. Because we expected, they didn't know what to expect, because they didn't know. They didn't have any experience. How do you know? You don't know.
Yep.
You got to go there and take that leap. And I've opened up classes to beginners numerous times, like just a class of beginner. It's like the interest is nil. I'm like, this is unbelievable to me. I'm about to save a person a decade of practicing easily. And anyone that knows the system and at least and had me coach them personally, they
Sure.
know that claim is true. Like, I made a claim. I don't want to make a claim I can't back up, but I can they'll back it up for me. That's the best. That's the best backup in the world, right? The best verification, or authentication of a method.
Yeah.
So that's what it is. And I really, you asked me, what's your message? And I'm still talking. The message is, hey, look, and I would like to share what I do here. Okay. But I would like to, have somebody share with me the joy of growth, either from, like, for example, like a freak of nature. It's like, it's about, well, I mean, my inspiration doesn't mean it's someone else's. So you got to interpret this how you want. Each song can be used for that. That doesn't necessarily mean what I had it mean, right? And what I had, whatever. What does do da 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 mean? I still don't know. And what does it mean to me? It means that's how to write a hit song. Don't.
Right.
I don't know. So where was I? No, man. I
Da da.
I can remember just the playing at the Rat in Boston. Like, my mind just goes into these crevices.
I told you I'm Italian. This is normal conversation for me.
Memory crevices. I'm just like, I get pulled out and go, and your name is? So so it's like, I just want to promote thought. What method can I use to improve on this? What method can I use to learn about something, the reality of it, or the truth of it? What is it really? What's really happening with this thing? And with that in mind, I speak about physics a lot. I don't think I could pass any kind of proficiency test on it. No, but what I can do is tell you what it does and how it works and what it's for. That I can do because I draw pictures.
Yep.
Of structures. I go, I know what this is, what it can do. I don't memorize all that stuff. So I don't want to sound like I do. But I used a physics metaphor for not drawing, but anyway, freak of nature is like elite athletes, or forces of nature, or forces in nature, or the forces of the universe, whatever. But force of nature doesn't sound good. Force of nature. It's just more like it belongs in a lounge, right?
You getting the swing into it. Yeah.
It's like this elite athlete that's unstoppable, and people criticize all the time. They have no idea. You criticize this football player. I'm sorry, but I would not want to get in front of that person because they would break bones. So I think I'm not going to criticize him. But it's easy to do on the internet. It's easy to do on the internet, right? Is to criticize
Yep.
people. No one's going to know. Touch me. I'm going to be as mean as possible. Say what I want.
Yep.
But anyway, so the critical, or they think you can, defeat a hurricane or anything. You just get out of the way. If Rob Gronkowski's a big barrel and Ash is a tight end and you're a small cornerback, do your best and hit him. But you could see sometimes they would, you just boom, blast right through, or a big lineman or whatever athlete. Just look at some people have natural abilities that are different from others, and they do something with those.
Mm-hmm.
I got a song on the record about not squandering your gifts. Anyway, so I don't know. See if the stuff makes you kind of go, interesting. What's that? How do I want to apply that to something? Not necessarily what did he mean by this? It doesn't matter doesn't matter, because they're sometimes multiple things. So I just try to make a song sound like something, and put meaning to it, to induce some thought about something personal to whoever's listening.
For sure. Well, I know we're way over time,
yeah.
I can't tell you how much I appreciate this. We are a fan-driven show, so we've had a whole bunch of comments. The fans are just loving this.
Thank you.
Yeah, our good buddy Cael McLeish, who's actually backstage right now, he says it's the master himself. Love the new single, and what a stellar lineup. Our good buddy Robert Ream says, hell yeah, this is awesome. Thanks for being here, Mike.
You're welcome.
We've got David Condren. He says, this is truly amazing. Thank you so much for having the great Mike Mangini on the cast. Mike, you are truly one of a kind and such a huge blessing to me and to DT. Your new material is awesome.
Thank you.
Joe Gebhardt says, it's always cool to hear how an artist gets their spark for an idea, or in this case, the album. Thanks for sharing, Mike. And
you're welcome. You're welcome.
Yeah, this was a blast, Mike. And the new single, obviously, well, it won't be as new as of tomorrow, but Freak of Nature is the new single. And one more time, promote the one that is coming out tomorrow here. It's already out in Australia, but as Cael has reminded me many times as we're talking.
Yeah. All righty. And so, my link tree links to this rhythm knowledge stuff. If people are interested in just seeing what it's about, if nothing else, it saves time. That's all I can tell you. It works. So
awesome.
That's it.
Awesome.
Take it easy.
Well, appreciate it. Again, Mike, thank you so much for the time. I know we're way over, but this was a blast, and great. Best of luck with the record, man. I can't wait to hear the whole thing.
Thank you. Take care.
You too, man. See you, Mike.
Bye-bye. Are you shutting this?
Yes, I could take you right out. There you go.
All right.
There he goes, everybody. The great Mike Mangini. That was crazy. I was told, hey, let's do 29 minutes, and Mike gave us so much more. That was, wow. I've been podcasting for a while, but it never gets old when you get to talk to one of your heroes, man. That is just the coolest thing. So, yeah, there he goes, Mike Mangini. Again, the current single is Freak of Nature. He's got a new one coming out tomorrow, so make sure you check that out. Wow, a lot to digest there. I went full music nerd for a minute. It's a good thing Brian wasn't on, or we might not have gotten anything but music nerd stuff. So there you go. So thank you guys for the kind words in the comments. Appreciate you all there. So Robert Husted says, epic interview, John. Thank you very much. Mike is very easy to talk to because he is very descriptive in his answers. And sometimes you'll interview somebody that'll give you like 2-sentence answers, and it makes it a little difficult. You got to kind of pull stuff out of Mike. Is so descriptive, and it's so interesting to listen to him because he has such a unique perspective. So that was a total blast, man. So all right, moving on to the second half of the show. So we have had a debate going on the show for, it might be over a year now, but it's been quite a while in any case. And basically it started in the chat, and we were talking about the song Octavarium, and come to find out, I thought that every Dream Theater fan loved the title track Octavarium. I thought that was just a thing. Like, who doesn't like Octavarium? Well, come to find out, there are people that don't. And it sparked a pretty big debate in the chat that has continued back and forth ever since it started. I'm being told in the private chat that it was December. So it is almost a year. And Yeah, so for almost a year, we've had a few fans battling each other on whether or not Octavarium is a good song. So we've been talking about it as a joke, but we wanted to make it a reality. We are now going to do Octavarium in the Octagon. So I'm going to bring them on one at a time, and I'm going to bring on the person first who started this whole debacle. Our very good friend Chastadi Crawley is going to be on, and I'm going to give them each 60 seconds to explain their viewpoint, and then we're going to get them all on. We're going to have ourselves a good old-fashioned debate here. So, Chastadi, welcome back to the show. It's good to see you. Thank you for sitting backstage while we were talking to the man himself, Mr. Mike Mangini. How are you?
I'm good. It's me versus the whole fandom, so it'll be good. Well, Cael's going to help, but me versus 99.9% of the fandom.
There you go. All right, so 60 seconds. Why do you not like Octavarium?
I like the music part. It just lyrically, I'm going to quote Mangini, it doesn't feel right. It doesn't work in this section of my brain. I don't like it. And you're going to get sign language for this. But it just, if I could take the lyrics out, which I did the math and did, great song. I'd listen to it all the time. Just the lyrics don't fit with the way I want it to mesh together. And I'm not the only one. I have quotes from people that don't as well.
Took notes, did you?
I have notes. You can't see how bright my phone is, but I have notes on parts that I don't like.
Wow.
I did my research, but me versus the fandom. Hopefully I don't get drugged completely.
All right. Well, all right. So you are the counterpoint. Let's bring on our point real quick. This is a gentleman that you have seen on the show a couple times, and also if you are a viewer or listener, if you watch or listen to my nerd podcast, the Nerf Herder Council, you've also seen him there. He is our very good friend, Mr. Sean Faust. How are you, man?
Hey, thank you so much for having me here, John. I'm appreciating this. I want to think of something that Mike said during his interview that I can steal to defend my liking of this song.
Okay.
Well, Chastadi just stole something to defend her disliking of this song.
Okay.
So, I mean, I've had a year to think about this almost, and I should have been prepared. But I need something that's been said in the past 67 minutes to really drive it home. It's when I go da 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 for crying out loud. But seriously, I'm looking forward to this because I'm sure since December, Chastadi has come to realize that, you know, it's a good song. And maybe just read the lyrics. Read the lyrics. Back in the day, before all you young whippersnappers had your MP3 players and
whippersnappers.
Hey, I'm old, dude. So just let's go easy on the old man. It's past my bedtime by about 3 hours. My dinner time's at 3:30 p.m. I already forgot what I was saying. See, that's what happens.
All right. Well, there's your 60 seconds.
Mm-hmm.
So, all right.
Glad I wasted it.
It's not the first time, my friend. It's not the first time.
Not at all.
All right. So let's bring on the man in the middle, so to speak. You know him. You love him. He is one of the first two fans of the show ever. Maybe the first fan. It's between him and Adam Rishog. He is, of course, the legend himself, Mr. Cael McLeish, all the way from Australia. Cael obviously displaying his beautiful vinyl copy of the Octagon.
Oh dear, you caught me reading.
All right, man, 60 seconds. Why are you on the fence with this song? Either it's parts good, parts bad. 60 seconds.
For exactly that. I think there's some great parts in there, and I think there's some lowlights in there. I think there's a lack of ever-present riff, like with a lot of the great Dream Theater songs. There's that one hook to get into. As Chastadi said, I don't think the lyrics are all that perfect, though they do fit a very good point to end not just the album, but also the whole meta album cycle that's been running since Scenes. I don't know. It's got real good high points, and it's got some rather low points for me as well. So I think it might be even a little overlong for my take. Anyway.
All right. Wow. That is That's an interesting take, because while it is like, one of their epic length tunes, I think a lot of people think that it kind of flies by. So let's bring everybody on all at once. We'll get to some comments here. Sean and Chastadi, here we go. We've got Cael and I, who, I'm the moderator, but Cael's on the fence up top. And then we've got, Sean at the bottom versus Chastadi. There we go. So look at this. Chris Aiken. By the way, Aiken, thank you for hooking up the Mangini interview. Everybody say thanks to Aiken, even though he's being a dick. He says, I love it as a means of torture on touch tunes and non-metal bars. not gonna lie, I've been known to play a change of seasons, and then right as I'm leaving, do a fast pass to play it right again, so people that are playing shit music get basically 50 minutes of prompt greatness. Robert Husted says, those people who don't like Octavarium are called nerds, John.
Robert, the last time you were on, you couldn't spell my name right with my name on my title. I'm not listening to you.
Look at that. She's already coming out swinging.
Man,
I think they're only 1.5 ounces left. Johan Alexanderson. Anybody taking bets? What about Sarcasmo Assholio? Yeah, where's Sarcasmo been? We haven't seen Sarcasmo in a minute. That's interesting. Okay. All right. So, Chastadi, your main complaint, the first one you brought up was the lyrics. Let's start there. What do you not like about the lyrics?
So I went down, I broke it down like line by line on here. It doesn't, to me, it sells out. It doesn't fit with, and yeah, I did say it sells out. Like if you listen, break it down line by line, he starts out, I don't want to do this. I don't want to do this. I don't want to do this, but I'm going to be medicated and self-medicate myself and be so out of it for 30 years. I'm just going to do it anyway. It's fine. That's all I want now. Okay. Could be like a 6-minute song. Congratulations. It's not the length. I'll listen to 6 Degrees straight through 41 minutes. I don't care how long it is, but the story of it could be done in 6 minutes. You don't need to take 24 minutes to say that you sold out. Well, not knowing you sold out, not knowing necessarily sold out, but gave up to what you didn't want because you were so over medicated. I just stick it in the 12-step from Portnoy fighting, like going through his 12 steps. I think parts of it would fit better with that than on its own thing.
Okay.
Like, I don't have it in verses here. It talks about
wrong addiction.
It's still an addiction because he's self-medicating. So hold on, I'm scrolling through my 10,000 things. So when it says,
it's not that long.
No, it's not. I will. Here, you want math, Sean? You ready for this?
Oh boy.
I listen to Dream Theater. I get math all the time.
I sat down and counted how long. My husband and I did the math driving. The total studio album catalog is 1,126 minutes and 25 seconds.
What's that in hours?
18 hours, 46 minutes, and 25 seconds. Out of the entire thing, Octavarium and the other song that you deep dove into that album a couple episodes ago, I dislike 15 minutes and 40 seconds out of the entire catalog combined between 2 songs.
This song is longer than that.
I don't mind the music though. That's the thing, is I like the instrumental part. If we got rid of the lyrics, it'd be fine. 8 minutes, 17 seconds instrumental, great song.
All right, Sean,
I did it backwards.
Yeah.
8:17 that I don't like. If you put the rest, it's great. Just cut out that 8 minutes.
Okay.
All right, Sean or Cael or both, are you able to defend the lyrics to Octavarium? I personally don't have a problem with them because I think it's very interesting. I like it, especially the song title part. I really enjoy that. I think it was very creatively done. Where do you guys stand?
I'll let you start, Sean.
I'm not trash talking the band at all because some cool stuff had come since, but I think lyrically, overall, after Kevin Moore left, the lyrics weren't as fantastic, I guess would be, for lack of a better term. The lyrics for Octavarium, until Chastadi just told me the entire story of that song, I was always like, I don't know what the hell is going on. And That's cool. So like I figured like he dropped some acid at one point and he threw on some Cheech and Chong and some Van Halen and for some reason was listening to Wilson Phillips. Wow. That's just crazy. But yeah, the whole thing like of not wanting to be like him and then I become him. That's every child says that I'm not going to be like my parents. I'm not going to be like my parents. And somehow they end up being somewhat like their parents. Lyrically, you know what? Chastadi, you got to win.
Oh, look
if we
at
can
that.
just do the lyrics part, great. Let's just debate the lyrics because I like it musically. Do you like it musically? Like the melody, the tonality. You like that part?
I mean, if I agree with you now, then what the hell are we doing here?
Let's fight about anything. I'll fight about home. You want to fight about home?
Oh no,
that's right. You don't like home. Oh my God, that's right.
It's actually a square.
For that. Wait,
Chastadi,
so what kind of Dream Theater fan are you?
I don't want to endorse a dude sleeping with his brother's wife. Why is that okay?
You're not endorsing
because it's a Dream Theater song and it's awesome.
It's part of an overall story.
Cut out. Again, I did the math on this.
Trying to condemn it. I don't know if you've actually noticed the tone in which it talks about that. Even he says it's wrong.
Yeah.
But it's still, you're spending 12 minutes and 53 seconds going, oh, look at this big long story. And I want her so much. She's home to me. I want her so much. And I know it's my blood. I know it's my brother, but I'm doing it anyway. And I'm like, you could do the rest of the album with just, okay, she died. It was this very tragic thing. And that one little snippet where it talks about it in Fatal Tragedy, that's fine. You don't need that 12 minutes. And you don't need the sex scene, like this moaning in the background. You
realize that finally Free literally paints this dude out to be the fucking main villain of the thing, right?
He can be the main villain without the sex sounds. You don't need that. You don't need to be going, oh, I love my brother's wife. Look at my sister-in-law. Who here, y'all have brothers?
All right, then take up the right side of the headphones when we get to that bit and just hear the casino in the background. Problem solved.
I'm gonna, I mean, we're here to talk about Octavarium, so we'll get it back on the rails. I gotta say, Chastadi, though, you're coming in here strong, saying I don't like Octavarium, I don't like home. I mean, next thing it's gonna be like Metropolis Part 1.
No, I'm telling you, I only dislike out of 18 hours. I only dislike 15 minutes. And it's just the lyrics. I could listen to all of the rest of it. You give me that 18 hours, I'm good. Just cut out that 15 minutes of lyrics.
Man.
Speaking of 18 hours, why don't we bring up the intro to Octavarium?
That 5.5 minutes?
I mean, beautiful. I love Floyd. I love Pink Floyd. And I love the intro to Shine On You Crazy Diamond, but here it's like what did I dub it? I'm trying to remember. Shine On You Crazy. Oh my God. Eclipse of the Heart. Because it goes from this like 5 minutes instead of like what could have been said in a minute, but there's like so much meandering going on. It's amazing how you're here to defend yourself for not liking it, and now I'm trash talking it.
You're doing a great job at this debate.
I'll tell you,
you're awesome.
Going crosswired now.
No. Well,
he agreed.
The reason this happened is because I made a facial expression when Chastadi said in the chat that she doesn't like Octavarium. I was like, what the hell? And it just became this grudge match. So I'm here for it.
It was on Fan Hangout.
It was the Fan Hangout.
And you were
that's right. Yeah, that's right.
And John
do that again. What did I do? Do my facial expression.
I can't do your facial expressions. You were just this pure shock and like almost anger that I didn't like.
Anger.
See, Sean, you're older like I am. So what this is turning into is like back in the heyday of 80s wrestling when WrestleMania was the only pay-per-view and you waited all year for the main event and then you got to the main event and it sucked. That's what you're doing here.
Oh, I'm sorry. So anyway, Chastadi, everything you're saying is completely incorrect.
Yes.
About home.
Correct.
Everything you've said about lyrically, that's a good song. I'm sorry that you don't like the context of it. But anyway, so back to Shine On You Crazy Eclipse of the Heart.
This is why I'm glad I have waterproof mascara on.
Oh my
God. Amazing.
Oh my God.
Where did we lose this episode? And can we get it back?
I was gonna say poor Cael hasn't even got to throw his 2 cents worth.
You know what, Cael?
Mike!
Is that a?
Oh my
I
gosh.
think Cael's too comfortable on his fence. He can't decide which side he wants to.
There you
follow.
go.
Nice
I don't-
long like split rail with the big log fence, just chilling.
All right,
We're
Cael,
not
you're up.
fighting each other
I'm gonna
anymore.
go.
We gotta get on Sean's side.
Point.
Just be on Sean's side for a minute because he gave up and said I won.
No, I didn't. What the
No,
hell are you talking
lyrically,
about?
lyrically,
Lyrically, I'm just gonna give it to you because
that
you know.
it's an odd song that could be condensed story wise.
Well, I'm
Well,
just saying.
literally until you brought it up today, I thought it was very much a self-contained by movements, because the first one is I don't want to be someone like him. The second one's medicate, and then you get the third one, which is just here's a bunch of shit we like. Let's put it in the middle.
Shit we like. That's
The fourth one
that's
is,
just like the
okay,
world's
here's-
worst sandwich. Like you have moldy bread. Look at this beautiful, expensive hamburger. Like
Yep. And then the fourth one's just like, hey, remember that album that we were doing like 20 minutes ago? Here's literally
The
just
rest of
a
it.
little line about everything that we did. And then the fifth one's like, oh yeah, we started this song and it's all about starting where it ended. So
same note. Let's
yeah,
go there.
let's just do that. Let's just do that.
Let's go back. Well, like if you just read the lyrics, he says, I don't want to do this. I want to be inspired by them. I don't want to be them. But then someone's having to medicate him to get over that point. So it does all run together if you sit there and
Yeah, look, but
you're like, I didn't get it either. So you understand why when you run it together, it's a little
yeah, if
weird.
you run it together like that, sure. But that's
It's
like
one song.
saying
It's supposed to run together like that.
sure, but that's like making the debate that Barstool Warrior is part of Mike Portnoy's 12-step suite because it's about a dude who sits there and drinks.
But you can play the 12-step all as one, and it all fits together.
Well, the Mirror Lie is like the intro to the 12-step, and he's even said that.
Did you say
Because
the mirror is lying?
The Mirror Lie, the mirror slash lie.
I thought you
Yeah.
said the mirror is lying. I was like, no one has a mirror on this chat.
How do you know? Maybe it's
Yeah,
the mirror
exactly.
universe, and
There's
they're
one
lying.
behind me.
Shit. See,
I
no,
went
it's
to
good.
look around your head.
Yeah.
No.
I am going to go with Joe Gebhardt in the chat here. He says, again, it's Dream Theater. Why does it have to be condensed? I think that's a great point. Dream
No, I
Theater is
like
a
the
band you
length.
don't condense. So
You don't
that one I
condense
will
them, but
disagree.
come on, man. Like 5 minutes of an F minor chord with some like, which don't get me wrong. I love watching it live. I was at Score. I don't know if a lot of people have heard about Score. It was at Radio City. John.
This side of the room is people that have seen Score.
Exactly.
Oh, John was there? I
He's
was
over-
not aware
Might
of
have been.
this.
Yep,
There
this
should
side,
be a,
this side of the room.
A drinking game every time John mentions that he was at Score.
I haven't done that in a long time because you assholes. I keep catching myself because of that. But I think that's a great drinking game. Okay, continue.
I don't know why you called all of them assholes when it's me that does it to you, but okay.
I do
Because
it.
people agree with you. Look,
Um,
man.
People all agree when the chat when you do
Yes.
it.
I'm just
Yes.
saying that the intro
100%, dude. 100%.
the intro to it is just a little too long. It's meandering because I know that Jordan learned to play the steel guitar from Steve Howe while they were on tour with Yes, and it's cool. And like I love that they experimented and did that, and I love it every time they experiment because a stale Dream Theaters, it's still good. It's Dream Theater. I mean, come on, it's like eating cold pizza in the morning.
That pizza is still
I
bad.
don't know. Robert Hughes says, why would you willingly listen to Repentance? That's not good Dream Theater. It's the only example of it.
Well, I mean,
Because
I know
watched
that's
Shadow
John's
Fortress
favorite
and I had
song.
to play it.
Yeah, right. Well, I mean, Sean, so you bring up an interesting point. Let's go to the intro here. So, all right, Chastadi, where do you stand on the intro? Because
I
think
like
that-
it.
okay.
I
Because that's
can
usually
listen
part of
to
contention.
if you take just the lyrics out, I'll listen to the whole song straight through.
You don't like the
I
vocal
hate that
melody?
intro.
I would
Wow.
rather take the vocals out of it and have it be a song like Stick It Like Stream of Consciousness or Hell's Kitchen where it's just instrumental. I'd be great. Let's just stick that in there.
Wow.
Yeah, but at least when James is singing, it's not really, really shrill on my ears. When Jordan goes way up there, it's like, oh, don't do that, please.
But he wants to. It's fun.
Yeah, but
That's actually that's a good explanation for it. It's probably
okay, and apparently John and Mike thought Sex Sounds in Home were fun, but you don't want them to do that, so I don't know how this
I
is an
don't want this
argument.
song home on the album. I'll just take it out.
Oh,
I'll
this
just
battle is
Cut it.
awesome.
I'll have it.
Wait,
I'll
take
have
home
my friend
out?
just take it out.
Oh fuck!
Take home out and you missed like 90% of the story.
Yeah. All right. So Discuss Metal Joe. Good to see you, by the way, brother. Sorry I couldn't get your question in for Mike. He says Octavarium is like the 10 Commandments. Do you want to listen to a 4-hour epic today? No? Then don't start. There's no good jumping on, jumping off point. You have to be ready for the whole thing.
No,
Very good point.
Great.
No,
Gotta
it's
be
like-
just jump to Medicaid. Go from Medicaid onwards. Once my young actually joins in on the song, you're good.
I think it's a whole piece, but I'm only here to moderate, so I'm not here to,
well, then you keep that opinion to yourself.
Hey, I'm
Everybody,
the
strike what John just said.
None of that counts.
None of it counts.
the moderator is not allowed to opine.
And yet he did, so
Well, it is my show. I mean, Jesus, I can
Dude,
break
I
the
want-
rules if I want to. Like, oh my God. By the way, guys, so real quick show note here. If you guys want to co-host the show like the guys are now, don't forget we do have our annual fan hangout. It's going to be on Friday, December 22nd. And if you guys want to co-host like this, have your own debate. If you guys want to like bring up home, we'll do that one. You guys can jump in here. Just shoot us an email, talkingintoinfinity@gmail.com. Shoot us a message on Facebook. I think I might get it. Sorry, Mike L. But yeah, if you guys want to jump in and do something like this is exactly what we do at the fan hangout every year. And this year, again, it is on Friday, December 22nd. So after that plug, so Sean, what?
Friday.
Yes, there you go.
My Chastadi isn't correct on certain opinions.
I feel a home debate coming up. This is going to be like a fight trilogy. This is. Man.
Wait, trilogy. What's the third one I don't like?
I don't know. Say something stupid.
Damn.
Says the man who flip-flopped on his opinion 2 minutes ago.
Those are
I've got
two good
problems.
blasts. Those were some haymakers just thrown right there on either side. Oh my God.
I'm loving this.
Yeah. Johan Alexanderson says, I'll be in Europe that day. We'll be hella late. Yeah, but
Or
it's worth
early.
it. It's
so
worth
much
it.
fun.
Yeah. Johan, it's worth it just to watch me drink a gorilla fart just to see my face because I can't even hide how putrid they are.
It's going to
So-
be drinking into infinity. That's what I've
yeah.
been calling it all year.
That's really what it is. The show has a different title that night. So, all right, Sean. So the intro.
Mhm.
Your thoughts on the intro?
It's just a little too long. I love the idea, but it's pretty much the beginning of "Shine On You Crazy Diamond" by Pink Floyd. Not complaining. I love it when they wear their influences on their sleeves. I think it's great.
Okay.
It's just a little too long for me. I usually do fast forward a bit.
10 seconds at a time.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, all
And
right. So,
even doing that, you're missing nothing.
You just say if you get
Okay.
rid of it, you're not missing anything.
Correct.
That's what I
Literally,
thought.
you can just go, and you're fine.
Oh, like when
Straight-
it kicks in, kicks in.
all
I'm talking
right.
like when it kicks in, You're all
Yeah.
Yeah,
about
I'm talking about you go straight to that melodic part. Have a bit of an ambient chord drone before that, sure, but you don't need him soloing on two different instruments as well. Like,
Well, then let me ask a question. You
good on
bring
him for being talented and all, but do that in a more organic way rather than just here's a 5.5 minute keyboard solo just to get you all sorted. Yeah.
Okay.
Well,
so,
you gotta go get a beer. You gotta take a leak. I mean, there's
John
things
has
you
to go
can
take
do.
a
But there's doing that
Right,
live.
exactly, yeah.
And then there's doing
John,
That's
that
John has to put the
an
banner at the
album.
bottom. Yep.
Just put the banner in bottom during
Yeah.
it.
Well, all right, Cael. So you bring up an interesting point then. Now, and I'll ask this of all three of you guys. So you say just get to the point, get to the okay, fine. But with a song this massive in scope, do you think that might be too quickly getting to the point, or would any of you guys say that building up to that fits in a song of this magnitude?
We've just had 7 songs of build up to that magnitude.
But what's wrong with Dream? They just always grow. Like everything Dream Theater does, they're like, as the album goes, it just builds and builds and builds and builds.
Because you're building to an immediate dropout. That's the thing. Like you're building to that big crescendo, and then here's an acoustic guitar on a float.
But if you're built,
It doesn't stay built. It's just like here's 5 seconds of payoff, nothing else.
I
Enjoy the
read
next
something
5.5
similar about people
enjoy the
complaining
next
about
3
Funny
minutes
Under
of
because of that.
someone like him as well. you know. That's it for most of them until you get to Medicaid, really.
All right, Sean, what do you think?
I'm gonna disagree with Cael. I like the intro. I just think there's too much meandering going on. Maybe cut it down. Chastity, how long is that intro again? Before
Just over 5 minutes, 30 seconds.
so
I
just
can
over
give you
five.
my husband actually wrote down the exact, but people are like, it's 6 minutes. You said it in December, it was 6 minutes, but it's like 5:32 or something like that.
I thought it was 4:32. I actually checked it the other day. Maybe who knows? Maybe I was off, but in either case, exactly. I was imbibing in gorilla farts at the time. Couldn't tell time properly.
How far are we calling the intro? Just as a point of reference.
Till lyrics start.
Oh, till lyric. Okay.
Oh, till lyrics start. Oh, I'm just talking about till the like that final.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're talking about
the
main.
Yeah.
Right.
All right. That's why I thought 4:30. Okay, so that makes sense.
4:30.
Well, it would be 4:30 to.
Yeah, I'll give you 4:30. Yeah.
So I'd say 2 minutes. 2 minutes of that. Like if you're gonna like do Shine On, and I get it, but we don't have to expand upon it.
Okay.
I'd even be open to just go straight to the slide thing. Do the chords, and then when he starts with the continuum, don't do that. Go to the slide guitar where he brings up that next theme that gets echoed by the float.
Once again, the guitar player wants less keyboard solos. I get it. Man. Yeah.
No, I don't want less keyboard solos. I want less. I'm going to slide all the way up here to where it gets distorted in the mix and just doesn't sound all that great on the record.
Fair. I got you.
And again, I'm saying have that as a live thing. Have that as a live feature because on score, it's absolutely excellent.
Score. John was there.
I was there.
So you, Sean.
So was I.
Oh my goodness.
There's a reason they don't play this anymore.
All right, Chastity. The intro. Do you think it's appropriate, or like Cael, do you think you just want to get past that 4.5 minutes and go, or do you think do you think doing so would take away from the vibe of the song?
I think it, as much as it's almost like Danny Elfman sounding like.
Wow.
What?
Boy, is that an insult?
No, it's a good thing. I love Tim Burton.
What did Danny Elfman ever do to you that now
No, I like it. This is like a good thing to me.
Robert Husted.
Yes.
Because it's got a slightly like almost a minor melancholy type thing as it moves through it. I think without all that extra that's like building through it and helping it move into that, it kind of feels like the instrumental part kind of feels almost unfinished without it to build into that, to give it that not right creepy, but kind of a creepy tone. And I like it. I've been listening to it just so I can get more into the headspace for this and the Mangini.
You like creepy tones, but not sex sounds in home. Got that.
Look, Cael.
I just don't want to listen to 12 minutes of someone saying, look, I'm going to go, sleep with my brother's wife. And this is a good plan. Y'all got siblings that are married. You're going to go hit on their spouses? No.
I'm an only child. No, I don't.
We're going to got cousins or whoever that you want to go, I'm going to go sleep with my best friend's wife or whatever. No.
Yeah, but it's not his brother, so it's okay.
See, that's
not okay. That's just
all right, fine. It's not okay. But thanks to you now, I got the music from Pee-wee's Big Adventure stuck in my head.
Oh God. I'm telling you,
you'd be friends with my husband. That'd be fine.
We're gonna do like a Royal Rumble style thing at the fan hangout. We're gonna have Chastity, and like every 2 minutes, we're gonna bring in somebody else, and she's just gonna toss them out of the ring. It's just gonna be like one debate after another. Like every 2 minutes, there's gonna be somebody else just going completely at Chastity for not liking.
So wait,
home.
for a moderator, you just took a side there, Judge.
I didn't take a side.
You just said, "Oh, Chastity's going to shoot down everybody."
Well, you just switched sides, so I win.
That's not taking a side. I was stating a fact.
So he was saying, John's saying, "Oh, well, Sean switched sides, so Chastity won." So that's
it's not that I switched sides. I still think you're wrong. I'm just agreeing with you on certain points here.
But we disagree.
I think you're going to need to have the little clip out of the Portnoy drum solo from Once in a Lifetime where he goes to the "Let's get ready to rumble."
Sound effects, exactly. Oh my God!
Go find that. Just get that clip, stick it in here. It'll be fine.
All right, so
I just did it.
Mike L has a good question to keep it rolling here. See, Cael, I'm trying. Mike L says question for Chastity, so we'll let you go first. What did you think about the vocals, though?
I like the way that James sounds. I really do. Give him different lyrics, great. I just don't like the actual words of it. I don't like the story of it, but lyrically, like vocally, I like it. I'll listen to James. I'll listen to him all day. I have 18 hours. Well, it's not all James because you've got Dream and Day on there, but
Charlie's good. I like. Sorry, I'm not supposed to give opinions. Sorry.
if you
Kind of
get, you take out the
Dream and Day remix.
51 minutes and 25 seconds, even that, take the rest of it. I like James. I'll listen to him. I have no problem with that. I just don't like the lyrics that they're making him sing.
Discuss Metal Joe says 2112 Overture plays. Chastity walks in carrying a title belt that just says DT on the front of it.
Oh my
Nice. This is gonna be the best fan hangout yet. Holy crap!
That's it. I'm booking off work already.
That is gonna be amazing.
Oh,
All right, so Sean, your take
Yeah.
on the actual vocals, not the lyrics, the vocals in Octavarium.
I love his vocal performance on that whole album. He had gotten like himself like really back in shape around that time, because I remember he was hitting that high F sharp on Learning to Live when they were on tour with Yes the summer before, I guess, while they were recording this. And then that whole tour for Octavarium, he just sounded amazing. He was really at the top of his game again. And it was just nice to hear just how Innocence faded. Need I say more? So like the summer
yeah.
before,
Well,
we're
I was
getting like
gonna
Learning
say
to
that.
Live nailed. Yeah. And then Innocence faded. He just sounded awesome. So I think his vocals on this entire album sound great.
Cael, vocals, not the lyrics. Your take.
Love it. I think, isn't Score his actual highest recorded note on that Trapped Inside This Octavarium right at the end there?
Possibly.
I don't care if I'm not allowed to give an opinion. That might be my favorite thing he's ever done vocally.
Yeah.
That scream was
Yeah.
amazing.
And
So-
he doesn't do that anymore. I don't think he really got into it that much beforehand. It's such a unique James bit. It's such a good little nugget of it, So
All right.
yeah, no, vocally definitely, and to also be building up that entire section the way he does, starting low and almost spoken to almost putting in a bit of panic and then aggression and then getting to that scream. Just taking intervals, brilliant. Someone like him, well sung, yeah, a whole lot of good stuff there. I even think Portnoy's got a really good part with the running forward, crawling back. It provides a lot there.
So Robert Hughes said it's only the drinking game is if I mention Score.
If you mention being at Score.
Being there. Yeah, being there. It's
Yeah.
not just mentioning Score, because we could talk about Score. It's
Yeah.
just if I say I was there, that's the drinking game. So
Like
we gotta
drink
get the rules
now.
straight.
Because you were there.
You said it, I
Does
didn't.
that count though? Because that's a demonstrating of
yeah,
how
that
this
was
game is
like
played.
reading the
Yeah.
rules.
Exactly.
I don't know.
Exactly.
That's like saying when you're playing Uno, you have to say Uno, but to explain the rules, you have to say Uno, even if you have
Yes.
cards in your hands.
What
You
the
don't
hell
have to
is
draw
Uno?
during the reading of the rules if you said Uno out of turn.
Fair enough.
Listen, yeah, Robert, if you keep this up, I'm not going to tell you that I actually have an inbox message to play that little amphitheater in Winchester, Indiana again next year. So you're not invited to the show if you keep this up.
Indiana, not
But-
Louisiana,
All right.
New York.
So, song length, another bone of contention for a lot of fans. Sean, your thoughts?
No. I'm tired of people like, oh, you listen to a Dream Theater song in your car. Did it take you a day to drive? Like, it's
Dude,
a
I get that
song.
all
Like,
the time. Yep.
Let the song be the song. And like, even as much as I was saying earlier about like the intro being a little too long, I don't care. Like, it's a Dream Theater song. Let it breathe. Let it be what it's going to be.
They're
Good or
supposed
bad
to be
lyrics and all.
long.
Yeah, I mean, like, are those songs on the Astonishing that are like 25 seconds long? Now, please tell me you hate the Nomax stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know you do. 'Cause they
I'd
don't
rather
count the-
listen to that than Octavarium on repeat.
Oh, God.
Wait, what the? Wait,
I
you're
will
kidding,
listen
right?
to the
Please
130
block it.
minutes of Octavarium of Astonishing over the Octavarium.
Wait, now you're saying you'd rather listen to
I would listen
25
to
minutes.
the Astonishing, which is, I can tell you how many minutes it is because I'm the weirdo.
Now, They were.
Oh yeah,
they-
that's why you're the weirdo.
130 minutes and 25 seconds. I will listen to the astonishing all the way through with Descent of the Nomax and the 1 minute 52 seconds and whatever on repeat. Then listen to Octavarium.
All right, look, you're gonna get booted if there's any more astonishing hate. As the moderator, I will tolerate a lot of things, but I will not tolerate any
No, I
astonishing.
like
Yeah,
the astonishing.
Don't make fun of the
Check
astonishing.
that out.
Seriously, Sean, that's what
What?
you're gonna do? I heard that. Oh,
No. Purgles aside. No, I thought you said you would just listen to all the stuff with the Nomax.
yeah,
on
that's what they're
repeat
talking
over
about. The
Octavarium.
Nomac noise.
Oh, well,
Not
that-
the whole
that's
album.
fine.
I'm just talking
That's
about the Nomax going.
Yeah.
Actually, no, you did say that, didn't you? You said you
I
prefer
said
the
I would
Nomax
listen to
over
it on
Octavarium.
repeat unless if someone's like, you listen to this or you get forced to listen to Octavarium, I'd listen to Nomax. If I could cut out the lyrics of Octavarium and just have that, it would be different.
So, do you think Octavarium the song is too long?
No,
Okay.
I'll
Cael-
listen to 6 Degrees straight through, and that's 41 minutes. The second disc is 41 minutes. I'll listen to it straight through. It's not a length thing, and that's what Sean said back in December. He's like, "Is it because it's so long?" No.
Oh, I was probably just being a belligerent dick for the sake of being a belligerent dick.
But I remembered it, and that's what I was
Oh
like.
my
First
God.
things first. It's not a length thing.
There's such a that's what she said here, and I'll just leave it alone.
I will go back and find that sound clip.
It's so worth it. Look at right as it's Cael's turn to talk, he's hacking up a lung. There you go.
Drop me out because that's my dog's barking. Hang on.
Look at him. All right. Cael's got to get his canines under control, apparently.
My husband's
Well-
doing that for me so I could do this.
Nice.
My wife's letting the dogs out too.
Who
So
let the dogs out? Who?
really, that's what you got to do.
Yeah, I mean, you set me up.
Hey, you saw my comment when Mangini was talking about you don't want a little dog when you need this big sound. And I'm like, and Crazy Dog Lady says Chihuahua playing the bass drum and the Great Dane playing the triangle.
Right?
Because when
Oh
I'm not
my
listening
gosh.
to Dream Theater, I'm working with dogs.
Well, that's right. We all work with animals.
That is correct.
That's
I
awesome.
don't work with animals. I love animals.
Well, that's good enough, man.
Discuss
What do
Middle
you do
Joe's
with
gonna get his
aminals?
ass. Did you just say aminals?
Yes, sir.
All
All
right.
right.
I have
Okay.
so many nieces and nephews that say things in very adorable ways. It rubs off on me. And you're going to correct a 2-year-old that says aminals and then it just sticks. No. So what do
I-
you do with animals?
Who, me?
Sir? No, Sean.
Oh,
Oh, what do I do? Oh, I work in a cat kennel at a no-kill animal shelter.
Fun. If they
Hell
didn't
yeah.
try to kill my allergies, I would love cats.
You get used to it. I'm allergic.
I
to
had
cats.
8 cats. I ran a rescue with me, my big sister,
Hell
and my
yes,
mom.
sister. Right on.
there you
I
go.
was on 3 allergy medications every day.
There you go.
Very right on.
I've done the cat thing. I'd rather not stop breathing because
Well, keep talking shit about Octavarium.
There you go.
Cats into my house.
All right. So it looks
Yeah.
like our debate about Octavarium is kind of. I don't think there's a clear-cut winner, and I think Sean, you were very diplomatic, and Chastadi, she stuck to her guns. She stuck to her guns. I think the real battle was Chastadi versus Cael.
I still haven't brought up that I'm not the hugest fan of the solo at the end of this.
What?
Yeah.
I think John's no longer the moderator. I think he's
Yeah.
gonna come across.
Look at Mike L. I say aminals after drinking into infinity. I'll probably say that night too, Mike. So there you go. Wow.
You have to understand, I have 65 nieces and nephews on just my husband's side.
Are your
lot.
elder family members aware that their vaginas are not clown cars?
It gets better. I have on my father's side, I'm number 97 of 144.
Good Lord. How is that even possible?
Yeah, we live in Utah.
Oh, yeah, there you go. They all hang like the sleeve of a wizard.
Like
Oh
I
my-
could pick your brains more. I have a cousin that has 22 kids.
Okay,
Adopted
so-
or natural birth?
10 with his first wife, then passed away to cancer, and then he had He married his second wife who had 4 and was pregnant with number 5. Her husband divorced her when she found out she was pregnant because I didn't want the first one. It makes you want the other 4. I didn't want it. Called them an it. We don't like him. Cousin met her the day she was divorced. They had their first date. She's now had 12 children. She's given birth to 12. They have 22 combined. But he's number 1 out of 15. So comes from big families.
I don't even know what to say to that.
That's why I say aminal.
So this is why you don't like the song Home.
Now it's a therapy session.
Yeah, right.
No, my name is not Nicholas. I do not have gravel as living room carpet.
Thank you. I have always said that. What the
Yeah.
hell kind of flooring is that guy have?
It's
That's
like
his
he sounds like
driveway.
Mistrunchable walking. No, because he shuts the door, walks
Yeah.
across it, and
And
you
wa-
hear the
and
doggy
grabs
drink.
like gets a drink
Yeah,
and
that's true.
His carpet sounds like and gravel. It's like what the
It does.
Maybe he's stepping on cat litter.
he's got a shitload of cats. That's right.
Yeah, he's got cats, he's got
It
litter.
reminds me of Miss Trunchbull in Matilda. She walks across the gravel
yeah.
before she goes fresh
Oh
meat.
my god, this is insane.
I mean,
oh my god.
I don't know. Maybe he's got gravel stuck in his shoe and he's walking on floorboards. That's the best excuse I've heard for that so far.
That would just click
Oh.
though. That would
Yeah,
just
but I don't know. The Foley artist had a day off.
I have a friend in the chat that Chastity's mad about sex sounds, and he says, I'm just gonna bring it up. What the hell? My buddy Jason Cluse, one of my very best friends in life, he says, let's not talk about gravel. And speaking of your sex sounds, Chastity, that's because we busted him screwing a chick face down on a gravel driveway. And we got a great picture of it. And the next day she woke up to party and was all, she was face down.
But was it his brother's girl?
No.
Something where that's
Again, he's the villain. We're
I
trying to
didn't
make
say he
that
wasn't.
clear.
I didn't say he was a good guy. I'm saying that's the.
Well, obviously not if he's banging his brother's wife
I didn't say he was a
on a
good guy.
casino table, no less.
Man, this is going off the rails. All right. Well, before this gets any crazier,
When
let's
you get
just
the Mangini thing. Let's bring it back.
yeah. So I'm assuming you guys are all going to jump on at some point a little bit for the fan hangout. Sean, are you able for a little bit, or I don't know?
It depends. I mean, it's a Friday, so God only knows.
All right. Well, there you go.
Chastity will probably find a third song that she hates by then, and I could be like, "Yeah, what the hell?"
Mean.
No, I'm not trying to say that to be mean. Like, do you like Pull Me Under?
Yes.
All right, we can argue about that.
I was going to
You
say
don't?
yeah.
I like Pull Me
Yeah,
Under.
what
I
if
don't
the
need to
songs
hear it
we
ever
hate versus
again.
Something
Yeah.
Chastity actually likes.
Oh yeah. Well, Chastity, Illumination Theory, fan.
Yeah.
Cael.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Both
see?
of us. Yeah.
Yeah, so 3 versus 1 right here. Look at him.
Wait, but you're the one that over here that gets mad at me for liking Stream of Consciousness.
I don't get mad.
This is great.
I was like, oh, I love Stream of Consciousness. You're like, why?
It's okay to me. I would describe it as just there. That's
You're
how
like,
I
it doesn't
describe
have anything that gets stuck in your head. It has nothing poppy.
No.
I
It's
don't know
very
how many
fond of my
times my
father on
husband
that
will be
album.
whistling, and he's whistling Stream of Consciousness, like that little like hummy thing you do when you have a song stuck in your head. Stream of Consciousness. It's now become a it's now become Let's Mock John.
Somewhere,
so sorry.
somewhere, dude. I don't care. I invite this crap. You kidding me? Do I act like I'm so serious? Like you can't make fun of the host? Like my God, I'm easy to make fun of. That's why I'm the host. That's why Brian likes to do this.
Instead of Brian doing it, he's got us 3.
Exactly.
So that's why he wanted to sit out.
Yeah.
Brian's like, you guys have got this covered. We're fine.
Right. Exactly.
No, Brian
well-
just decided to dress like a nun real quick. So
Or Breaking Bad. He definitely has like the best Halloween costumes. I can't wait to see what he's doing this year. He's done some great stuff before. So, all right, guys. Well, I'm going to put you back in the green room. And we'll talk after I close up shop here. But Chastity, thank you very much for making the time. Great to see you as always.
I don't think she was done.
Well, that's why I said hold on in the green room, you big nitwit. So, thank you for hanging out, Cael. I'll talk to you in a second. Sean, always good to hang out with you, my friend.
Love you, brother.
See you in a second. Love you too, man. Oh boy, that was a crazy episode of the show there, y'all. That's a little bit longer than usual, so I guess we call that bonus content maybe. But in any case, hopefully you guys had a great time. That was definitely a free-for-all there with the Octavarium and the Octagon. And of course, what an incredible interview with the alien himself, Mr. Mike Mangini. That was fantastic. Pulling back the curtain a little bit, I was told do 29 minutes. And so we hit 29 minutes, and I was texting Chris Aiken. I was like, okay, like, can we go over? And he says, go to 45. I'll take the heat if it's too long, like, or until, he's done. And Mike just kept talking, and I was not about to cut him off because that was a fascinating conversation. So if you guys are just now tuning into the show, check out the video replay on our YouTube channel once we're done here, or the audio will be up probably about a half hour, 45 minutes from now. I always do that right after the show. But definitely check out the interview with Mike Mangini. It was awesome. Check out his upcoming solo record, Invisible Signs, coming out next month in November. And he does have a single out called Freak of Nature. And he has another single coming out tomorrow. So there'll be new music from Mike Mangini in just a few short hours. So to all of you guys in the chat, Circle J, Mike L, Robert Husted, Johan Alexanderson, Discography Discussion, Joe. I'm Joseph Friend, dude. My very, very good buddy. Joe Gebhardt, all you guys, David Condren, T-Bone Drum Covers. Thank you all so much for taking part in the show. As you know, we love when you guys are a part of this and you guys drive what we do here. So we are going to be right back here 2 weeks from tonight at 7:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. The day of that show is going to be, let me think, it'd be November 2nd. So it will be Thursday, November 2nd at 7:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time at our normal locations: Facebook, YouTube, the CMS Rumble page, and the CMS TV page. Don't forget, as I mentioned, we have the annual fan hangout coming up on Friday. It's a Friday, not a Thursday. Friday, December 22nd at 7:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. If you would like to jump on and co-host and have a free-for-all melee and tell Chastadi why she's wrong about home, or anything else you want to talk about, for those of you who are not familiar with that show, you're more than welcome to shoot us an email, talkingintoinfinity@gmail.com, or a Facebook message, and you can come on and co-host the show for a segment with us and talk about anything you would like. We try to keep it to music, but anything musical you would like. It's basically our chance to hang out with you guys and make you guys the stars of the show, even more so than you already are, once a year. And it also features me drinking gorilla farts, which are really gross, but it's a show joke, so there you go. Fuck you, Brian, for introducing me to those damn things. Anyways, we appreciate you guys very much. We will be right back here in 2 weeks on Thursday, November 2nd at 7:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And as always, guys, Carpe Diem.